Hello everybody and welcome back to Rose's Cafe. Today we're going to change it up a bit and we're going to cook something that is strictly of European origin, Rouladen. Today's recipe is going to be typical of Germany, or more like German Rouladen, although similar dishes appear throughout Europe. The word Rouladen comes from the French word rouler, which means to roll. A rouladen consists typically of a thinly sliced meat rolled around a central filling and secured with strings or toothpicks. The roll is then first browned and then simmered or oven roasted until it's done. Typically a gravy is made, and that gravy may or may not involve wine or beer from the resulting liquid, and the roll is then sliced and served with vegetables or pasta on the side. A typical side dish might be boiled potatoes. Today we're going to take that a step further and make mashed potatoes, since to my American taste it seems that mashed potatoes would go really well with all that beef gravy that we're going to be having. The meat commonly used today is beef, although pork or even venison has been used in the past. The filling is usually a mixture of onions, dill pickles, or gherkins, which are very much like dill pickles, but not exactly like dill pickles. It also involves possibly some minced meat, sausage meat, mustard or pine nuts, and other things like that. The mixture for the filling varies from region to region. So today we're going to make this recipe for beef rouladen. So here are the ingredients for our beef rouladen. First we have the thinly sliced top round steak. Now that is of course more than 2 pieces. To get it thinly sliced, the best I could find were these long narrow pieces, so I'm probably going to put about 3 of them together to make the roll, which I think should work well enough. Then we will have the Dijon mustard, about a tablespoon in each roll. We are going to layer each roll with dill pickles. If we were in Germany, we would use gherkins, which actually are in the cucumber family, but not quite cucumbers. They come out very close to dill pickles when they get done with it. We're going to layer each roll with a strip of bacon and 1¼ of onion. Now in a large skillet we're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to brown each roll on all sides. And then we're going to add about a cup of water, rosemary, salt, bay leaves, and beef bouillon. And we're going to let that simmer until the meat's nice and done. That will take a couple hours. After that, we remove the roll. We're going to add some browning sauce. In this case, I'm using Kitchen Bouquet. You can use any one of a number of brands. And we're going to thicken the liquid left in the skillet with some flour to make the gravy. At some point while the rouladen is simmering, we're going to boil some potatoes and make mashed potatoes, and that will be our side dish for today's dinner. So to build our rouladen, we want to lay out our beef, in this case top round steak. Could be pork, or it could be even venison or something like that. The trick is that it should be thinly sliced to make a roll. We want to spread a tablespoon of mustard, the Dijon mustard, on the beef like this. Once we have that, we want to layer it with the pickles. Remember that these are substituting for gherkins, which is what you would find in Germany. Next, we want to add the bacon, and I've cut the strip into 2 pieces to spread it out just a little bit. And then the onions. Now, I have further cut down the onion quarters to eighths. That makes it a little easier and a little more manageable to put inside the roll. Now once we get these ingredients laid out, we want to roll the whole thing into a roll, which would admittedly be a little bit easier if this were one piece of beef, but we're going to make it work. And we want to secure that roll with toothpicks. Now, rather than a skillet, I'm using my Dutch oven here only because I don't have a really large skillet, and the Dutch oven gives me a little more room to maneuver. Plus it has the lid, and we're going to need that later while we're simmering this. The ideal vessel here would be a large covered skillet. Once the meat's been browned on all sides, we're going to add 1 1/4 cups of water, saving a 1/4 cup back. We're going to add the rosemary, salt, the remaining onion chopped. We're going to add the beef bouillon cubes and 1 bay leaf. Make sure those ingredients are submerged there in the broth. We're going to turn that heat down to a low simmer, and we're going to let that simmer for perhaps an hour, maybe 2. Now while that's going on, we're going to boil some potatoes to make mashed potatoes. Now to make the mashed potatoes, I've peeled a couple of large boiling potatoes, and I'm going to cut them into about quarters so that they'll cook fast. Now I've actually set the potatoes up here in my steaming basket arrangement in my stock pot here, so when they're done it'll be easier to lift them out and drain all the water off when we get ready to start mashing them. So I'm going to cover those and let those boil. Probably take around 15 minutes or so to get them done. Now, with the potatoes done, we want to first mash them up. Going to add some butter, about 1/2 cup. Now with the butter melted and mixed in, we want to add some milk until we have the consistency that we want. Now you want to add the milk just a little at a time, because if you get too much, there's no going back. What I've got now, I think is just about perfect. Now we're going to finish it out by adding a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. And I like some garlic powder. About that much. Don't really have. So there's our dish of garlic mashed potatoes. It's going to be our side dish for today's menu. I'm just going to cover that for now and set it aside. Now the rouladen rolls have been simmering for a couple hours and they're done, so it's time to remove them to a dish and set them aside for a while until we get the gravy made. Now we're going to let these rolls sit right here until they're cool enough to handle. And in the meantime, we're going to make the gravy. Now to make the gravy, first we're going to combine the tablespoon of flour with the remaining 1/4 cup of water until it's good and smooth and well dissolved. Once you have your water and flour solution ready, you want to add that slowly with stirring to the juice left in the pot. You just want to keep it moving until the liquid comes to a boil and thickens. Okay, now the gravy's looking really good, so our last step is to add the browning sauce. Just a tablespoon. Now with the rouladen cooled down, it's time to move it to a plate, and I have done that and removed the toothpicks, of course. We want to add a side serving of mashed potatoes, and then we're going to cover both the potatoes and the rouladen with gravy. Now pair it up with a Rose's Cafe House red wine and dinner is served. That's all for this week. Join us again next time here at Rose's Cafe. Bye now.